TPM Strategy 1 module. The objectives of Strategy 1 is to identify the role of a convener and who can best serve as a convener for industry partners to come together to address their talent pipeline. Studies have shown our education and workforce structure operate on parallel tracks, and they are not working in sync with each other to meet the needs of the employers. Because of the unclear objectives of the employer's needs, future employees' training, the skills gap continues to widen, contributing to high unemployment or the underemployed, and increases the entitlement and lost opportunities. Now is the time for the development of a private-public partnership working together to close the skills gap. TPM 6 Strategies provides a step-by-step playbook for such a partnership. TPM strategies focus on communicating the demand and management of the talent supply chain. Of the 6 strategies, strategies 2, 3, and 4 create a foundation to develop a local or regional talent flow. The training modules will address each strategy separately. Before a collaborative can be organized, a convener must be selected. A convener can be a local workforce development agency, a chamber of commerce, economic development, or a trade association. The role of the convener is to lead the collaborative through the TPM 6 strategies. They also are the keeper of the data that's going to be shared, especially in strategies 2 through 4. Sometimes the convener is identified as quote unquote Switzerland, because they're going to keep all of the raw data and understand the need for confidentiality, especially when you have industry partners or industry competitors sitting at the table. So it is imperative that that convener understands the role of confidentiality and abides by the confidentiality. Vermilion Advantage is a nonprofit organization that consists of economic development, workforce development, and chamber of commerce. It is a hybrid located in Vermilion County, Illinois. For the last 20 years, Vermilion Advantage has served the role as a convener and has been recognized at the regional, state, and national level as a model program for developing the role of the convener when developing collaboratives. The convener makes sure that all parties are at the table, from private industries to small mom and pop organizations to nonprofit. The individuals who are selected to represent the collaboratives are willing to make a long-term commitment, and they understand the role confidentiality is going to play in the TPM process. Vermilion Advantage has collected data annually, and when they put that data together, they aggregate the data and then share it back. The raw data is never shared outside the convener's office. The convener is also responsible for developing relationships, and they include not only the employers, but adding the education partners, the social services who can help assist removing barriers to employment, and the WIOA board. Therefore, everyone in the county are on the same wavelength, and they've reduced all the silos and are working collectively. The convener also is responsible for communicating the need of the employer's potential to the education providers. Everyone is at the table, and that includes the Economic Development Board and other workforce employer collaboratives. Sometimes the collaboratives will meet jointly, but when they are addressing a specific area of that industry, then they will meet as an industry collaborative versus an entire all-inclusive collaborative. In order for a convener to remain neutral at all times, there are certain qualifications that they should take under consideration. Currently, the navigators will fill the role as the conveners for each EDR region. First and foremost, the convener must maintain neutrality at all times. They need to make sure that everyone's voice is heard and are participating in the collaborative. Once again, I cannot stress enough the need for confidentiality. The convener is going to have access to various stages of information, and they become the gatekeepers of that information that is shared with them. All the information that the convener receives, the raw data, will be aggregated to share back with the group and any public entities. The convener versus a stakeholder. A convener has nothing to gain except for the economic development of their region. A stakeholder has something to gain. Therefore, if you choose a stakeholder to serve as your convener, it may hinder the other members of the collaborative to share the information that you need in strategies 2 through 4. The convener also needs to be willing to make a long-term commitment, simply because you need to develop relationships and trust factors in those relationships in order to make a successful collaborative. An employer collaborative is a partnership organized by employers for employers to collectively address shared workforce needs or pain points. The collaborative is supported by your neutral convener to lead them through this process. Employer collaboratives are different from most public-private partnerships in that they are organized and managed to maximize responsiveness to employers as the end customers and to deliver an employer return on investment. There are several guiding principles to develop effective employer collaboratives. Of those that are demonstrated here, there are 3 that are very important. Number 1, you need a commitment and the engagement of the top leadership of a particular company or organization. 2, the representative in the collaborative must be willing to share priorities. Remember, the collaborative is coming together to address a common need, pain point, or issue within that particular industry. Third, the participant must be willing to develop short and long-term objectives to meet the needs of that collaborative. Remember, this isn't a race, but it is a process. And though at times it may seem like you are not moving forward, you actually are. And so as I tell many other collaboratives under development, just remember to take one bite of the elephant at a time. There are many benefits to a company who chooses to become a member of a collaborative. Employers can improve their individual business's visibility to providers and learners, regardless whether they are a large conglomeration or if they are a small mom-and-pop operation. Through clear communication, employers can speak with one voice to better communicate their job projections, talent needs, including the competencies and credential requirements for their positions. This information is shared with their trusted providers and current employees interested in any career advancement. The communication can also be shared with your local WIOA boards, who can help set up training providers for incumbent training. By sharing their expertise, employers can learn and improve together and engage a more effective talent supply chain. They will also be able to improve leverage for getting results. Speaking collectively at one voice to a provider, they're more likely to have changes in the education process versus one company taking on the challenge by themselves. And they also have added value for small employers because maybe they do not have the financial support or the leverage for it, but they can learn from the best practices from the larger corporations. Before organizing an industry sector collaborative, you need to determine the need within your region. This can be accomplished by organizing a sector-focused meeting to share the TPM processes with the participants. If it is determined that a sector collaborative is needed or required within your region, then you must decide who is going to participate in the collaboratives. Collaboratives can vary in size from 2 to 3 members to 60 members. Some members may choose to sit back and watch the process before engaging, while others will move forward. You also need to cover a range of topics and ensure that there is time to reach your ultimate objective, and that is to secure the buy-in and support for piloting the TPM process, and if your employers are willing to be the first adopters for this program. As I mentioned earlier in the presentation, collaboratives are developed around shared pain points within a particular industry. Some of the more common ones are unfilled job openings, the onboarding and training costs or upgrading costs for materials or technology. The other is looking at incumbent worker training for career advancement, turnover and retention, and more importantly is looking at increasing the diversity and opportunities with untapped talent resources. The next training module will address Strategy 2, Engage in Demand Planning. This concludes Strategy 1 module training. Should you have any additional questions, feel free to reach out to Kim Kuchenbrod at the email listed on the slide. Thank you.